Fire cider is one of those herbal remedies that pops up a lot, kind of like elderberry syrup. You hear about it in waves or at times of the year. And I think there's probably a lot of you that don't actually know what fire cider is. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and go over what this is, why you might want to make it, and why you definitely want to have some to enjoy. So fire cider is an oxymel. And in my book, Sweet Remedies, I talk about a lot of different ways to use honey as a medium for medicine making. And oxymel is one of those ways. What you wind up with when you make a fire cider, I'm gonna pour some. This is my recipe here. It's called Buckeye Fire. And I'll pour a little bit in so you can see in this glass. Fire cider is a liquid. First and foremost, it's a liquid. It is an infusion of aromatic plants, and in the most basic recipe, you're going to see garlic and onions and hot peppers and horseradish and ginger. Sometimes you'll see citrus. The citrus are there really to be your vitamin C content, but it's also there for great flavor. I've seen a lot of people get creative on what the vitamin C content is in their fire cider. And that leads me to my next point, which is that fire cider is kind of like this magical name. It's like chicken soup. There are some basic things that we put into chicken soup or fire cider that you kind of see as universal. But after that, it really goes into customization. So everybody that makes a fire cider makes it a little bit different. There is not really one culture that we see fire cider come out of. It's not necessarily just Greek or Roman. It is ancient. It is one of those recipes that gets passed down from generation to generation, and it is definitely an example of what we would call people's medicine. Fire cider is a more recent name for it, and I believe, and everything that I've ever seen, that credit goes to my mentor, Rosemary Gladstar, for kind of gathering up all of the old medicine ways of this specific formula and calling it fire cider and giving it a written recipe. But other than it being an oxymel, which is a combination, you infuse or you soak all of these different aromatic plants into a vinegar. And that can take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks up to 4 to 6 weeks, and sometimes even beyond. Some people will add fruit. Some people, I've seen some with a tart cherry additive that's really nice, because you can take your fire cider in any direction what you are hoping to support health-wise with it, especially if you're going to be using it on a day-to-day basis. My fire cider is really good for digestive stimulation. So the fact that it's got that hot pepper in it and the ginger and the other stimulants in there, it's going to boost the digestion first thing in the morning. I use it in my Real Food Family Health Reset program on a day-to-day as a suggestion for those with sluggish digestion. It can get that really going. A lot of people use fire cider for an immune support. Obviously, it's got all those great antivirals and antibacterials. So mine is a real basic formula with a few herbs that I like for flavor added in. You infuse your fire cider in a good quality apple cider vinegar, generally. And then you strain that all out and you combine honey into it. This is the part that becomes an oxymel. Once you have added your vinegar and your honey together, it creates a specific type of therapeutic blend. And we get sort of that spicy and that sweet all at once. I like this just straight. It is bright and it is spicy and it is exciting, and you can imagine it as a a salad dressing base. You might use it in a cocktail, a really spicy cocktail, maybe a Bloody Mary. You can use it just as is. I use it in the morning just as a sip. I toss it into my bone broth as a flavoring. It goes into a lot of soups, a lot of things around our household get fire cider added just for that flavor. You don't necessarily have to make it super sweet, and ours isn't. Ours just has enough of that sweetness to bring out, it's making my mouth water. It's just enough sweetness to bring out the spicy and the flavor. But some people make it even sweeter. The fact that you can change this over based on your family's needs means you can make this crazy spicy with a ghost pepper or a reaper or even beyond, or you can make it really mild if you have folks in your family that can't do spicy. A few years ago, Rosemary came out with a book with a lot of us contributing to it. And so there are 101 different ways to make fire cider in this fire cider book. And one of the ways I have is I made an eluxuary. An eluxuary is a great way to put all of these things together. You can actually get powdered vinegar these days, and so you can bring that element into it even without a liquid. So you can get really creative with what a fire cider is. Fire cider comes up at this time of year where I'm making this video in the fall. It comes up when we're going into what people call cold and flu season. So a shot of this in the morning can prevent anything from creeping up on you. And if you start to feel bad, a shot of fire cider in the morning often can knock out any crud that's going on, especially a respiratory, upper respiratory, sore throat, any kind of thing like that. It's going to go after that really quickly. But the idea here is that it's food. So we're not talking about what kind of dose or how much can I take and how much do I give my child. This is food. It's intended to be incorporated in your food. It's something that you might eat off of a teaspoon. I just do a shot because I love it. We go through a lot of fire cider here on the farm. Our blend is really popular, and I love to see people. We do events often to come and learn how to do fire cider, because as you're going through your busy day, if you find time to make your own, it's a really good thing to know how to do. Again, all you're going to do, quart jar, onions, garlic, ginger, hot peppers, some citrus. There are great recipes everywhere, definitely on our site. We have on sodafarm.com, we have a recipe there that's a general. You soak it, you strain it, you add some honey, you're done. It sits on the shelf. This does not go into the refrigerator. It sits out, it sits in your cupboard. You're able to use it at any time, and it is a delicious food as medicine. I wouldn't be without fire cider. There are many things in my shop, things that we make therapeutically to help people that I don't necessarily need. If I pack for a trip, I always take fire cider. So come learn with us, pick up the fire cider book, pick up my Sweet Remedies book, learn how to make it, even if it's just so you know what quality is before you go and buy it from somebody else. It is an absolute must-have in your natural kitchen.